Hello, hello. Welcome to our If My Thyroid Labs Are Normal, Why Do I Feel Like Crap workshop. It is our thyroid brain workshop that we're doing. If you are here live, thank you for being here. If you are watching the replay, then thank you for watching the replay. We have a lot of people watching the replays. As I've noticed, I sent out the replay for last night's workshop, and we have lots and lots of views on that. So really, really excited that people are getting this information. It's so, so important. So if you were with me last night, you went over your normal labs, your neutrophils, your lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils. And tonight we're going to break out those thyroid labs and check those out. So if you don't know me, I'm Sarah Outlaw. I am a functional nutritionist. I am a functional blood work specialist, herbalist, homeopath. I am getting ready to sit for my doctorate board. So by May 1st, I will be Dr. Sarah finally. And so we're super excited to bring this information to you. I have 3 clinics, one in South Carolina, one in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and one in Iowa, and a worldwide virtual clinic. And in my practices, we have seen over 100,000 patient visits in a decade. So we have seen everything, every thyroid issue you can imagine. I just had some blood work come back today with elevated TPO antibodies and also other antibodies. So showed that the person has Hashimoto. So we're able to actually figure that out for people. And a lot of times doctors don't look for those things. So we're going to get really into this tonight and talk about labs and what they really mean and what you should be asking for. So if you don't have these labs, then you should ask your doctor, or you can get them from us. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in a moment here. Let's go ahead and pull this up. All right. So I like PowerPoints. I'm a PowerPoint person. So I do like that. So if my thyroid labs are normal, why am I anxious, depressed, and foggy brain? We are going to kind of look at the cascade of what's really happening when your thyroid is stressed out. This is called the whole brain rejuvenation is what we're doing now. We want to really look at what the brain is doing that's making the thyroid not be so happy. All right. So I use my functional blood work interpretation to help unhealthy people get healthy. I don't use this to diagnose. So I'm not actually allowed to diagnose. So even the person who I saw earlier today, who their blood work clearly says that they have Hashimoto's, I'm not allowed to say you have Hashimoto's. I have to really word it very differently because I am not an MD, only MDs. And there's some other states that allow, nurse practitioners or DCs to diagnose, but I am not allowed as a functional nutritionist to do that. So I don't. I'm very careful about that. So our mentors for these types of workshops are definitely Dr. Dadis Karazian. He is the godfather of functional medicine, put all these ranges together to show us what really is going on with the human body as far as blood work goes. We're super grateful to have this. And then also Dr. Kylie Burton, chiropractor, who did all of the functional blood work specialist training and still is to get everybody who is interested in going deeper into the functional labs. So I had functional medicine training, obviously, in my clinical nutrition master's program, but this takes it even deeper. So I'm actually able to look at a lab value and be like, oh, yep, that's what's happening. So it's really, really cool. So really happy to have them as mentors and appreciate that very much. So let's talk about your thyroid, that little gland in your neck. It's a little butterfly gland in that neck right there. And it can cause a lot of havoc. All right. So T3 goes to every cell in the body and it communicates. So we have T3. So start thinking about these numbers. T3 is the communicator. It's really important to not have T3 impaired in any way because it's going to tell the rest of the body what it needs to do. It's the signaler. So it tells the hormones to go here, tells the hormones to go there, it tells everything to communicate together. It's like the coordinator, so to speak, for the high school reunion. It tells everybody what to do and where to go. Okay, it's really, really important. So when communication breaks down, we start to have a lot of symptoms. It's the body's way of telling you there's something going on. So we know from clinical experience, and because you probably had some symptoms just like I have, that if you have a symptom, it means that something's going on in the body. So it's the body's way of saying, hey, there is a problem here. Almost like if your check engine light is on in your car, then okay, there's something going on in my engine, or do I need my oil change, or what's going on under the hood? I don't know. So to find out what the root cause is. So Symptoms that could occur if T3 communication breaks down is anxiety, depression, brain fog, sleeplessness, and inability to lose weight. Now, we are going to be talking tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Central about weight release. And we're going to really dive into that even further, because this is definitely part of this workshop, because thyroid issues can cause weight gain, sometimes even weight loss if the thyroid is hyper, but we're going to dive into that a little bit more later. So diagnosis or not, we treat you as a person, and we treat your entire system that affects your thyroid and your brain. Because what an endocrinologist will do is they might just look at the thyroid. They might not look at anything else. They might not look at what's going on in your gut. They might not look at what's going on in your hypothalamus. They might not look at what's going on in your pituitary, even though TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone from the pituitary. We're going to talk more about that, because it's really important to understand that the TSH is not the marker that you're looking for to know what the real health of your thyroid is. Okay, so we're looking at the whole body approach. Holistic health care, holistic nutrition is a whole body perspective. What's going on everywhere. So 3 of the main things we're looking at are TSH, T3, T4. So I want you to be thinking free T3, free T4, and TSH as 3 main markers. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into those and just into some other things as well. So here's a little diagram here. H stands for hypothalamus, P stands for pituitary, T is thyroid. So we have the hypothalamus pituitary thyroid axis, the HPT axis. Okay, really, really important when it comes to hormones. What goes on up here controls everything that goes down into the reproductive organs. It's really important. What's also connected to this is the pancreas, because the pancreas is going to produce insulin, and then whether you're glucose intolerant, et cetera, whether insulin resistance, whether you have issues with that, that is part of the endocrine system as well. And so are the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands actually produce over 50 hormones in the body, and they're really, really important for hormone balancing. What kind of controls everything besides the actual glands of hypothalamus pituitary is mitochondria. So mitochondria, if you remember chemistry class, we call it ATP energy. In the Krebs cycle, it's the ATP energy of the cells. It's what gives the cells their spark. It's what charges your battery. So when people come and they're really tired, they're really depressed, they're just blah, they're like Eeyore, usually there's a mitochondrial dysfunction somewhere. Mitochondrial dysfunction, that low battery type of situation in the body's cells, will contribute to the thyroid getting dragged down and tired, and the adrenals getting dragged down and tired. Okay, so mitochondria in the brain is super, super important. So we want that to be nice and high. So if the brain mitochondria is low, your hypothalamus gland is going to be stressed out, and so is your pituitary, and they're both located in the brain as well. Your amygdala is also located in the brain, and so is the hippocampus. So amygdala is in charge of those precursors to fight or flight. So we always talk about how adrenals are about your fight or flight, your cortisol, your production, your adrenaline, but the amygdala is the precursor to that. The amygdala has a lot to do with, if you're depressed, your amygdala is depressed. That's what's happening. It's all that serotonin, dopamine, et cetera. We look to the hypothalamus for this, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. So your pituitary gland produces your TSH. So TSH is not actually a hormone marker. Okay, this is the pituitary is producing something called thyroid stimulating hormone. Stimulates the thyroid to do its job. Then we've got T4 that comes from the thyroid that has to be converted into T3. The T3 then goes out to all of the cells and says, okay, like I said earlier, you do this, you do this, you do this. It's the controller, okay? So what happens when we treat the thyroid with synthetic thyroid medication? We're treating from the bottom up, okay? So this is not a good thing. The only time someone should need thyroid medication, and this is an unpopular opinion. This is the opinion of myself and my functional blood work specialist colleagues, because we've seen this over and over again. The only time someone should be on the thyroid medication is if they don't have a thyroid, if the thyroid's been taken out or irradiated, because otherwise it can be fixed. The thyroid is an amazingly regenerative organ, or gland rather, that can be fixed. Even thyroids that have been taken out can actually grow back. So we've seen thyroids start to grow back, which is crazy. Gallbladders can do that too. It's insane, but it happens. So we've got this issue here with the, you're given T3, you're given, levothyroxine, you're given all these medications that are going to stimulate the thyroid. But then what about up here? It doesn't affect up here. So up here is not being handled, and synthetic thyroid is not going to really fix the thyroid. So there are other ways. And if you're on thyroid medication, there is no judgment whatsoever. I have handled thousands and thousands of people that are on thyroid medication. That's not what we're saying here. We know that doctors will put you on medication if your TSH is off or if your thyroid is off in any way. And that is what they do. That doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong or that's wrong. There is just a better way. There's always a way to do something natural first and use medication as a last resort. And that's what we're all about. We're all about, if you come to me on a ton of medications, that is what it is. What we do is we try to heal the body, heal the whole body, so that maybe you don't need those medications anymore, because we actually help get things better from the root cause. But there's never any judgment about, oh, you're on a medication. How could you? No, nothing like that. Even antidepressants and those types of things. We work with everyone, no matter where they are in their walk with their health. So you won't get any judgment from me. All right. So let's go ahead and look at this. So the reason I work with people to get off their medications with their prescribing doctor, so I'm not allowed to, as a functional nutritionist, as an herbalist, as a functional medicine practitioner, I am not allowed to take you off your thyroid medication if you're on it. You have to work with your prescribing physician to wean yourself off of that as we heal your body. I have had people who've been on thyroid medication for up to 30 years or more be able to wean off of it. It takes a while. It does take a while to get the thyroid to work again, but it can be done. I'm handling the whole system, not just that tiny gland in your neck. That's why it works so well. Okay, so if you have never worked with a holistic practitioner before, then I encourage you to maybe consider that, because it can be super, super helpful, and it can really change your life. We have so many amazing testimonials. So a normal range, this is crazy. A normal range for TSH is 0.5 to 5.5. I mean, this range is humongous. There's so many things that can happen to the human body with this range. Okay. It's absolutely crazy. That is literally like, see if I can play this. That's like somebody asking me what my favorite restaurant is, and I give them the range. I tell them a restaurant that's all the way across the country. I'm like, no. I meant like in my own city. Like, you're giving me your favorite restaurants from here to New Jersey, or from New Jersey to California. I want it here, local. We want local. Okay. So the normal range for TSH is literally like going across the country. That's how huge of a range it is. The optimal functional range for TSH is 1.8 to 3.0. That is a much more manageable range, right? 1.8 to 3.0, teeny tiny little range, okay? Anything outside these ranges can cause a problem. It means that you are subclinically either hyperthyroid or hypothyroid, because clinically, as far as the medical system is concerned, you're not. But when we're looking at your numbers, we say, oh, yeah, you're not as sick as possibly someone else, but you are subclinical. We know this is when most people feel their best, when their ranges are 1.8 to 3.0. So if you have your TSH range, feel free to put it in the chat. We are going to be looking at those. I have some ranges here I'm going to look at as well from people who sent me them early, because they knew they were going to be on the replay, not the live. All right, here we go. So your pituitary gland is responsible for producing TSH. There are two culprits that will affect the production of TSH, and those two things are stress and inflammation. And they kind of go hand in hand. Inflammation can contribute to stress, and stress can contribute to inflammation. And then the pituitary gland does not produce either as much TSH as it's supposed to, or it produces too much. It really depends on what's going on with the body. So we really want to be able to, in the programs that we do with patients and clients, we really want to focus on stress management and stress reduction. And that is really, really important to understand, is we really don't want people to be under an exorbitant amount of stress as they are working with us. So we really try to reduce that. And I will ask, what is your stress level? Okay, so let's see. 0.045. Okay, Patricia, you got 0.045. Okay, so that is something to take a look at. So we're going to start plugging in your other numbers, and we're going to take a look at that. All right, very good. So thank you for sharing that. So the next thing we're going to look at is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is in the brain. It's kind of like up in here a little bit here on the side. We have a brain thyroid connection. It's huge. We also have a gut brain connection, and that is a whole other workshop. But the brain is really, really important when it comes to the thyroid. This affects this, and this affects this. The brain affects the thyroid affects the brain. But the brain affects the thyroid more than the other way around. Okay, so it's like this constant round and round and round with the brain and the thyroid. It's really, really important to address both. Two factors that drive the hypothalamus and everything downstream, so this is a downstream motion, are serotonin and dopamine. Serotonin and dopamine are two brain chemicals that we really, really need. We really, really need these to be level, because if they're not level, we will have brain fog, we will have anxiety, we will have depression, we will feel very stressed out, and we just won't feel very happy. It's just that, dopamine is the happy hormone, right? And serotonin kind of keeps everything together. These are really, really important to keep them even. And a lot of people go on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications to fix these. And a lot of people are addicted to things for that dopamine hit. So scrolling on screens, or addicted to self-help books, or addicted to chocolate, or addicted to food, whatever it is, to get that constant dopamine hit. So our goal is to have things so level that you don't do that. And it also helps with weight management, etc. So we make dopamine and serotonin in the gut and our brain. So that's another piece of the puzzle, the gut-brain connection. So we are looking at that as also, like I said before, that's really important. The gut-brain connection is called the enteric nervous system. It's part of the enteric nervous system. So E-N-T-E-R-I-C, enteric, that's that gut-brain connection. It is its own nervous system. So it operates like your nervous system does. It needs to be nourished, it needs to be stimulated, it needs to be not stimulated, it needs to be able to upregulate and downregulate so that you're not too stressed out, but you're having some stimulation. So it's very, very temperamental. All right. Focus on this pathway and our labs. Eliminate brain fog, depression, and anxiety for good. It is amazing how focusing on this pathway and nourishing the body the way it needs to be nourished and fixing this pathway, it's literally miraculous for people coming in to see us. We've got the hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid axis. The T4 converts like it's supposed to, moves into the T3, and the T3 communicates beautifully with everyone. There are no missteps. There's no miscommunication. The body runs like a well-oiled machine, and it's fantastic. So let's talk about free T4. So look at that free T4 number. We'll figure out what it is. So 1 to 1.5 is our free T4 number. Okay, that is the range that we want. We know this is when most people feel their best, is when it's between 1 and 1.5. So I have a range here. Let me look at it here. I have this person has a TSH of 2.3, which is within range, but their free T3 is 3.3. So that's out of range. Okay. So if it is high, I want to know, are they on any kind of medication? Because medication can actually make it go higher. This person has a free T4 of 1.8. And we're going to talk about, so 1.8 is high, okay? Because the range is 1.0 to 1.5. So we're looking at needing thyroid support. So we have, yeah, your numbers are super, super low. Are you hyperthyroid? I'm wondering if you're hyperthyroid, Patricia, because yours are super, super low. You're hypo? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Cause you're usually when TSH falls too far under 1, we can be either hyper or hypo, depending on what the other numbers look like. And then there are also, we'll talk about antibodies in a minute. So I do want to touch on that. Hashimoto's. Yeah, Hashimoto's is usually hypo, but here's the thing. When I had Hashimoto's, I don't have it anymore. When I had Hashimoto's, my thyroid would teeter it would be hypo and then hyper. So sometimes I would have hypothyroid symptoms and sometimes I would have hyper symptoms because it would go up and down. And that's really hard on the body because, sometimes you start to shake if you're hyper, get super, super hungry. And then on hypo, you just feel tired and sluggish a lot of the time. So it's really interesting how Hashimoto's will send it up and down. And I see this with a lot of my patients as well. So that free T4 number specifically, 1 to 1.5 is the number that you're looking for. If it's anything outside of that range, that's a problem. Optimal range for a free T3 is 3 to 4. Okay, so we want it to be 3 to 4, excuse me, for free T3. So that is the optimal range. That's when people feel their best. So we've got your TSH between 1.8 and 3, your free T4 between 1 and 1.5, and your free T3 between 3 and 4. And those are the ideal ranges for that. Free T3 is 2.8. Okay, so that looks good. The 2.8, actually, no, wait, that's lower. Free T3, did you see free T3? Yeah, that's a little bit on the low side. So all of your lab values on the low side. So we can definitely take a look at that and see why that is. Okay, so we're missing 2 pieces of the puzzle here. If your ranges are off those ranges, and a lot of times those ranges that you have, they're within the normal range for your regular doctor. They'll say, oh, they're fine, they're normal. So here's the thing. Let's go back to TSH for a minute, because I think this is really, really important, because it's counterintuitive how this works. TSH is, if your TSH is high, that means that your pituitary is not producing enough thyroid stimulating hormone, and you're super hypo. When that range, that TSH number starts going low, super low, it means that your thyroid is actually overproducing. So it's the opposite of what you would think. So your thyroid is overproducing, and now your body is hyper because you have way too much thyroid hormone, and you're like, you get heart palpitations and you don't feel good. And then the higher that number goes, that your thyroid, you're not getting a lot of that thyroid stimulating hormone. So that's something to understand as well. So missing 2 pieces of the puzzle. T4 has to convert to T3, which happens in our gut and our liver. So if you have poor gut health, if you have parasites, if you have any small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, if you have indigestion, heartburn, just digestive issues in general, constipation, diarrhea, IBS, Crohn's, whatever, you're going to have issues with your thyroid and your liver also. So most of us have liver issues. We have trouble with our liver enzymes. We have trouble detoxing the liver. Sometimes if you touch your liver is right under your, it's right on your rib cage on the right side. So sometimes if you're pushing in that area, it'll feel sore. A liver has a hard time detoxing. It has to go through 2 to 3 phases of detox for it to be healthy. And a lot of times it can't. So a lot of times what happens is the T4 cannot convert into T3 because the gut and the liver just won't let it. It's the conversion is not happening. Okay. So that is something to keep in mind as well. So common ways to treat this is to give synthetic medication. So whenever these numbers start to go off, what will happen is your doctor is going to prescribe a medication. These medications actually turn the pathways off. So they turn the pathway off. So your that hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid axis don't work anymore, and that's really sad because then your body can no longer convert the T4 to T3 anymore on its own because the synthetics are doing it for you. So the goal is to not have that happen and to fix it. So let's look at cholesterol, because cholesterol and thyroid go hand in hand. So this is a bonus. So if you have your cholesterol, your lipid panel, take a look at it. 180 to 250 is okay. The old range was 300. So back in the day, before World War II, if you were walking around with cholesterol at 300, you were fine. And then modern medicine came along and said, we don't think that 300 is a good number. We want to get that lower. So we're going to make sure that people have lower cholesterol. So we're going to give medications. So when statin drug medications were introduced, the rate of dementia and Alzheimer's went up. So cholesterol kept going down, 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 and Alzheimer's dementia kept going up, 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 because what happens is when there's not enough fat getting into the brain, then the brain actually shrinks and you can develop what's called type 3 diabetes, which ends up turning into dementia and Alzheimer's. So you don't want I don't want to see people's cholesterol below 200. I don't like it below 200. If it's above 250, what we do find with a lot of people is that there is inflammation, there could be blood sugar issues and thyroid issues. If your triglycerides are high, so you look at your triglyceride number, if that was tested, there's inflammation issues, blood sugar issues, and thyroid. So you can see the connection between the thyroid and the cholesterol. I always look at the thyroid when I'm looking at the cholesterol number. So the person that I saw today, she had, I'm going to talk to you, the other bonus I'm going to talk to you about is the antibodies. She had antibodies that were through the roof, her thyroid antibodies, and her vitamin D levels were really, really low, which is not a good thing. And her cholesterol was high. Her cholesterol was actually 249, and her triglycerides were very, very, very high as well. So we were seeing these markers show up, and I'm like, okay, well, and blood sugar was high. So blood sugar was way over the line too. So blood sugar was like, I think 100, and it's supposed to be, 90. So I'm seeing, okay, your cholesterol is 249, it's borderline at the maximum it can be. You have blood sugar issues and your thyroid is way off. So this is what we're going to address. We're not going to fix the cholesterol. We're not going to look at the cholesterol as the problem. The cholesterol is overproducing, usually in the liver, to help protect something. It sees that there's a danger, so it's going to overproduce and have more to protect the body. So our goal is to find out why there's more and then fix that. And then the cholesterol will naturally go down. Cholesterol is not affected negatively by healthy fats and good proteins. So eating coconut oil or fish oil or meats, red meats, those things, that's not what affects the cholesterol numbers. What affects the cholesterol numbers is actually your carbs and refined sugars, refined carbs, refined sugar. That's what's going to send it up. So if you did testing on that, you would see that that's what actually sends it up in the air. It's inflammatory foods, not the good healthy foods for you. So are they really off? Are your numbers really off? Then we're looking at your liver, or we're looking at, are you taking any medication? Because sometimes the body wants to protect you from the medication you're taking. So it'll start sending your cholesterol up. I'm talking about like thyroid meds, etc. If you have low cholesterol, which I have had quite a few people come through recently, their cholesterol was actually pretty low. It was like in the 150 range, 160 range. That means that they're either not eating enough healthy fats or they're not absorbing the fats that they are eating. Do they have a gallbladder? That's a question that I ask. If you don't have a gallbladder, then your body does not produce enough bile to actually be able to break down those fats and proteins. Do you have enough hydrochloric acid? When I do the labs that I do, it'll show me if someone has something called hypochlorhydria. Hypochlorhydria is a lack of good acid. It's hydrochloric acid deficiency. If you don't have the correct acid between the upper gut and the lower gut, you can't assimilate your nutrition very well. So you're more susceptible to parasitic infections, with gut issues, leaky gut, etc. Doctors always want to say, if you have heartburn, they want to just squash the heartburn and give you acid blockers, when it actually isn't usually an overproduction of acid. It's the wrong kind of acid because you don't have the right kind of acid. So if you have the right acid, hydrochloric acid in your body, it will neutralize any acid that's not supposed to be there, and you'll feel so much better. So if your cholesterol is low, you need healthy fats. You have to look to your thyroid, look at inflammation and blood sugar. It's the same mechanisms, whether it's low or high, except the only difference is the healthy fat need. Okay. Okay. So before we look at labs, I just want to talk to you about something called thyroglobulin or thyroid peroxidase. TPO. Those are what are tested if someone is being tested for Hashimoto's. If those are out of range, Hashimoto's or Graves. So we're looking at Hashimoto's if you are hypothyroid with the antibodies, and we're looking at Graves if you're hyperthyroid with the antibodies. So it's two different autoimmune diseases that 100% can be fixed. I have so many, including myself, so many people who have had Hashimoto's and Graves who've had this reversed while on a program with me, because we know exactly what to do for these issues to stop the autoimmune process and reverse it so that those antibodies go back to normal. There used to be the theory of autoimmune with thyroid. What used to be that the body was attacking the thyroid tissue, was attacking it, you were attacking at yourself. The new school of thought is that there's actually a pathogen or a toxin in the thyroid tissue that the body is attacking that. And the thyroid is collateral damage. So the immune system is revving up because there's a virus in the thyroid. There is a toxin in the thyroid. There's a heavy metal, something's there. Heavy metals tend to settle here. If you have mercury amalgam fillings, silver fillings, they leach and they outgas. So a lot of times they'll start to travel, and we do see them come up in the neck. So we do thermography in the New Jersey location. We have a thermographer that comes and we just refer to somebody out. If you're in a different area, we will refer out if you're not in that area. And we will actually see the lymph at the jaw kind of just like draining. You can see the different colors, and sometimes you'll see that thyroid lit up like a Christmas tree on that scan because there's something going on there. And then the testing that we do will also see. We do muscle testing at our practices, so we're actually able to see exactly what the problem is with the thyroid, how strong or weak it is, if there's heavy metals, if there's toxins. So I highly recommend, and we can also do that virtually too. So people who do my VIP program with me, or they do in-person testing, which is a little bit different. In person, these programs here that we're doing right now are a little bit different than our in-person. So you can always book a discovery call to kind of discuss what that means. But the discovery information is calendly.com/TheraOutlaw. It'll be on a future screen. So not everybody has Hashimoto's, but a lot of people do. And because doctors don't often take those tests seriously, they don't test for that. It's not part of the standard testing, and they don't test for it. And many times, depending on the endocrinologist you have or family doctor, you might not have that tested. So my patients usually have to ask for it. They have to ask doctors. All right. So I want to look at, let me go back here. Yeah. So 0.45 is TSH, free T4 is 0.8, and free T3 is 2.8. So all of those are under the number. So, and then did you have, Patricia, did you have antibodies tested? Did you have TPO antibodies and thyroglobulin? Because that would tell you if you have Hashimoto's. But those looking at those numbers, it looks autoimmune-ish to me based on those numbers. And then I'd be curious to know what symptoms are there too. Okay. So I have, let's see if I can grab here. I'm gonna grab you some labs. Okay. Let me see here. I'm gonna pull up some labs here real quick. Patricia, did rootcausezoom.com, did that work for you to pop on? Because people are telling me that they can't get on for some reason, and I don't understand why. rootcausezoom.com should be. I don't know. Maybe that's why we're having trouble getting people in here. Something's wrong with the Zoom here. I don't know why. Okay. I don't know what's going on with that. That makes me concerned. I don't know why. How, if you were able to get, I don't want to take up too much time in the workshop. I don't know how, if somebody was able to get on from the Facebook page and not from the Zoom, because the Zoom should be working. Root cause Zoom. Well, that explains a lot. That explains why people aren't being able to get on. I don't know what's going on with that link. That's distressing to me. Okay. All right. So let me pull up. Actually explains a lot. Oh yeah, you couldn't get on either. Okay. So I don't know. That's really weird. Oh, that's stressing me out. Oh my gosh. I don't know why it wouldn't work. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let me go ahead and pull up. I have some labs to look at here with you. So I want to show you some labs, or I'll talk about some labs here. All right, let's pull up. Okay, so I've got some labs. So on these labs, the thyroid, the TSH is, oh yeah, I see that. Yeah, that definitely went up. Okay, yeah. So that's super high. So the normal range for TPO is 0 to 34. For the thyroglobulin antibodies, it is thyroglobulin antibodies. It's 0 to 0.0 to 0.9. So anything over that is going to be out of range. So this person, we have TSH was 0.89. We had the thyroid peroxidase, so the TPO antibodies, was 46, and the thyroglobulin was 21. So those are both out of range. And then we had free T3 and free T4 were actually in the normal range. But we have the antibodies and we have the low TSH. So you have to look at all the numbers. You have to, at the very least, look at TSH, free T3 and free T4. What I look at personally is I look at TSH, free T3, total T3, total T4, reverse T3, TPO antibodies, and the thyroglobulin antibodies. That's what I'm looking at. And then I'm looking at vitamin D levels as well. So I actually, when I pull thyroid labs, I pull the full thing because I want to know what's going on everywhere. Okay. So that's what I usually do. So, okay. Well, this is, I'm going to open it up. So if you are, if you weren't able to get on this workshop, so that, I guess this is the problem. Something's wrong with the Zoom link. I don't know why, because I was able to get in. I'm going to have to figure that out, but I will be sending the replay, but let's finish out the workshop and then we will figure that out. I'm not sure what's going on with that. So how would your life change if you actually fueled the system from the top down? It would change drastically. Think about life with no brain fog. Think about life bright-eyed and bushy-tailed every day. Think about life with high energy. Think about life with no thyroid issues, that you're able to lose weight. You're just feeling really, really good. That's what this top-down cascade really looks like. If your goals are to be a healthier version of yourself without guilt, you feel good, you fuel your brain, you have your energy, and you lose weight, that is what we're looking at for this here. So that's what we're looking at with that top down. So we do have a 90-day 3-step program. It's gear up in the first month, preparation to fuel your brain. The second month is revamp, eliminate internal stresses and inflammation. And then level 3 or month 3 is optimize, continue healing with good nutrition and supplements. So that is what that is. We have a 90-day program. It's called the whole brain rejuvenation. So if the thyroid is the main concern, then we would address that with this program. If you're looking for more whole body, you would do the program we talked about last night. It's 3 months worth of supplements included in the price, 2-hour group Zoom meetings to go over your labs. The 2-hour group meeting to go over your labs is the first meeting, and then we have 1 group support call each month. So there is 2 calls the first month and then 1 call each consecutive month. There is also a guide to show you exactly what to do, how to take your supplements and diet support. And there's also a VIP option that includes the supplements. It includes the labs before and after. So it includes 2 sets of labs. It includes 3 one-on-one consults with me, as well as the 4 calls with the group. And it also includes the guide to show you exactly what to do, how to take your supplements and dietary support. So you have those 2 options. The VIP pricing for the one-on-one plus group is $6,500, which includes, that's all inclusive, includes everything. This is the VIP program. It includes the group visits and the one-on-one, and it's, or 3 payments of $2,500. There is also an option to pay through Afterpay or Affirm through the website. You'll see that when you go over there. I'll let you guys do that on your own. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Or the 90-day group program is $3,500. So these programs used to be a lot more. They used to be 12-month programs that were $1,000 a month, and they didn't include supplements. So this is a huge bargain to do this way. So if you go to rootcausebloodwork.com/brain, you are going to be able to see the access to that program. So I encourage that you do that. All right. So I love fast action takers. There is a bonus with this program. If you sign up, actually, it's not, I'm going to do by Saturday. So if you sign up by, well, actually, I guess 72 hours is Wednesday. If you sign up by Saturday, then you're going to get 3 months of extra supplements. So your plan actually continues into maintenance. You get a 6-month program for the price of 3 months that will help to continue to heal your gut, brain, and thyroid connection. So you're going to feel even better because that portion, you're going to be healing more of the gut stuff. So sealing up the gut, really getting your gut flora back on track. So that is their fast track bonus. So rootcausebloodwork.com/brain is going to be your ticket to the programs. We are starting the second Tuesday of April. So we have to have everybody onboarded before that date. And if people onboard late, or they will not have their supplements by the time we start. So, and that's not a bad thing. It's okay. But we want to make sure you have a full 90 days on those supplements. Okay. So thank you for joining the webinar. I'm going to figure out what's going on with those Zoom links. I did test them all earlier and they work. So I don't know what's going on. Sorry guys, but I will send out the replays. We will get the replays out. If you want to book a discovery call, it's calendly.com/Sarah Outlaw, or go to rootcausebloodwork.com/brain and go ahead and onboard with the program. You'll get an email right away, and then I will contact you to help you get on board and get your supplements shipped out right away and all of that. So I would love to have the opportunity to work with you. If you do the VIP program, you do get muscle testing, virtual muscle testing with that program, because I'm able to work one-on-one with you. So we have a little more in-depth stuff. We have a lot more time to kind of go over things and really troubleshoot what you need. What I use a discovery call for is to determine what program fits you best. Because if you're not sure, I don't know about my labs, I don't know what looks worse, what looks better, then definitely book a call with me and I will help you figure out which one. Okay, so we have 2 more calls. I'm going to figure out what's going on that Zoom link before the next calls. Tomorrow, there's 2 of them, 11 a.m. Central is our mold chronic fatigue workshop. I'm going to talk to you all about mold illness, what that does, what that looks like, and how to fix it. And then also in the evening at 7 p.m. Central, it's a little bit later because I work until 7 p.m. Central time, is our weight release workshop. So we will hope to see you at those workshops as well. Feel free to register for those, and you will have access to those replays so you can rewatch, take notes, and all of those things. So thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you for being willing to share your labs with me. And I really appreciate you taking the time. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. And I would love to work with you. Have a great night, everybody. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.